For decades, the label Made in China was a global signature of low-cost, mass-scale manufacturing. Shoes, phones, toys, tools, if you turned a product over, odds were it came from China. But something is shifting. Today, more and more products aren't arriving from Shanghai, but from Hanoi. Vietnam, a small, once overlooked country, is stepping onto the world's industrial stage. And the question now is simple, but powerful. Is Vietnam becoming the new Made in China? Let's rewind. China became the world's factory by offering everything manufacturers wanted: cheap labor, reliable ports, political stability. But nothing lasts forever. In recent years, wages have climbed, regulations have tightened, and the US-China trade war made it clear over-reliance on a single supplier is a liability. Then came the pandemic, shutting down Chinese factories and disrupting global supply chains. Suddenly businesses realized they needed a plan B, and many found that plan in Vietnam. Why Vietnam? It's a country with a population of 100 million, half of them under 35. Wages are significantly lower than in China, and the government has worked for decades to make Vietnam investor-friendly. It has signed free trade agreements with the European Union, Japan, and members of the CPTPP. It offers tax breaks, special economic zones, and fast-track approvals for foreign investors. Its location, right next to China, means supply routes are efficient while still allowing companies to technically diversify. Vietnam isn't just cheap labor, it's smart labor with a plan. Let's talk numbers. In 2023, Vietnam was the world's second-largest exporter of smartphones. It exported over $370 billion in goods, from textiles to semiconductors. Samsung assembles 60% of its smartphones there. Apple now produces AirPods, iPads, and Apple Watches in Vietnam, with plans to expand. Intel runs a $1.5 billion chip packaging plant. Nike, Adidas, Foxconn, Panasonic, LG, the list is long and growing. Factories are booming, jobs are multiplying. Vietnam is no longer a backup, it's a core player. But here's where things get complicated. Many of the goods labeled Made in Vietnam aren't fully made in Vietnam. They're assembled. Take a smartphone, for example. The screen may come from South Korea, the chip from Taiwan, the battery from China. All these parts arrive in Vietnam, where workers put them together. Then the final product is shipped out, stamped with Made in Vietnam. This has led to a controversial question. Is Vietnam truly an industrial powerhouse, or just a glorified assembly line? US customs officials are starting to ask the same thing. They've begun investigating whether some companies are using Vietnam as a transshipment hub, basically routing goods through the country just to avoid tariffs on Chinese products. It's a loophole, and it's drawing scrutiny. In fact, under Section 301 of US trade law, Washington has the right to impose retaliatory duties if it finds that imports from Vietnam are essentially repackaged Chinese goods. Vietnam, of course, denies this. And to be fair, the country isn't trying to cheat the system, but the reality is, Vietnam still relies heavily on Chinese components, machinery, and raw materials. Roughly 30% of its imports come from China. In some sectors, that number is even higher. Vietnam's textile industry, for example, depends on Chinese fabric. Its electronics factories rely on Chinese tooling and parts. So while the labor may be Vietnamese, the DNA of many products still traces back to Beijing. Is this necessarily a bad thing? Not entirely. In fact, it's a natural step in economic development. China itself started as an assembler for Japan, South Korea, and the United States. But the challenge for Vietnam is this. Will it stay stuck in the assembly trap? Or will it, climb the value chain? True economic power lies not just in putting things together, but in designing, engineering, and branding them. Vietnam knows this. It's investing in education, science, and domestic innovation. Tech universities are expanding. Startups in artificial intelligence and fintech are emerging in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. The government is pushing for more local suppliers to reduce dependence on China. But it's a race against time, because other countries like India, Indonesia, and even Mexico are also competing for the title of next manufacturing hub. And let's not forget Vietnam's own internal challenges. Its ports are overwhelmed, its roads are clogged, its power grid is under pressure, with occasional blackouts slowing production. There's also a shortage of mid and high-skilled workers, and bureaucracy, while improved, can still be slow. Vietnam's success is real, but it's fragile. If it doesn't invest fast enough, the momentum could shift elsewhere. Still, Vietnam has something few others do, a blend of youth, discipline, adaptability, and strategic foresight. Its story isn't just one of factories and exports, but of reinvention. It has moved from rice paddies to chip packaging in a generation. It has become a key player in a world that no longer trusts single-source supply chains. It may not replace China, but it doesn't have to. In a multipolar world, being Plan B is already a position of power. So, is Vietnam the new Made in China? The answer isn't binary, it's a spectrum. Vietnam is rising, fast, and carving out its own industrial identity, not by copying China, but by filling in the gaps it leaves behind. What comes next will depend on its ability to move from assembler to creator. What do you think? Is Vietnam ready to lead the next era of global manufacturing? Or is it still just the world's most efficient toolbox? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like and share this video to help others understand the hidden forces shaping our economy. And of course, hit that like and subscribe for more insights like this.